Question number 4, the Honourable David Parker.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Minister of Finance. Does he stand by his statement, there's going to be a lot of jobs, a high level of activity for the next 3 or 4 years that's picking up speed now, but it does divert us a bit from the need to rebalance the economy, and that is get our capital and our people and the export earnings sector? And if so, how many jobs will be created in the export sector over the next 3 or 4 years?
Honourable Bill English.
Mr Speaker, yes, I do stand by my statement, which was following on from a statement I made where I directly attributed that level of activity to the Canterbury rebuild. The Canterbury rebuild will cost $40 billion, and most of this activity will be in the non-tradable sector. That the necessity of rebuilding Christchurch is redirecting capital and people that would otherwise be available to an increasingly resilient and competitive export sector. This will put some pressure on the share of the economy that is in the tradable sector. On the second part of the question, I'm advised by Treasury there is no forecast of export jobs. What I can tell the member is that exports have increased 16% in the last 3 years, and we're looking forward to continued expansion of the export sector after it went into recession in early 2008.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, the Honourable David Parker.
Is his own department forecasting exports to decline in value by 2.8% in the year to March 2014?
Honourable Bill English.
Mr Speaker, that may well be the figure that the Treasury is using, which I understand is driven by a view about declining terms of trade. Treasury have expressed, I think correctly, concern that the persistent high level of the dollar up until about 3 weeks ago has made it difficult for exporters to be profitable and therefore to be able to reinvest in the expansion of the export sector. However, in the face of those difficulties, our exporters have proven to be remarkably resilient. They've continued to grow exports, and it's the government's view that it would be very helpful to the export sector if the currency declined somewhat in value.
Supplementary question, the Honourable David Parker.
Is it also correct that under current settings, manufacturing, excluding primary processing, manufactured exports have declined by 17% in real terms since 2008, with thousands of job losses?
Honourable Bill English.
Well, that's right, Mr Speaker. As my colleagues pointed out, if you exclude the areas of manufacturing that have grown, then you're probably going to show that the other ones didn't grow.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, the Honourable David Parker. Order. 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 I've called the Honourable David Parker for a supplementary.
Why is the Minister so sanguine about a forecast of 2.8% overall export decline in the year ended March 2014 on the back of a 17% decline in manufacturing exports since 2008 outside the primary sector?
Honourable Bill English.
Mr Speaker, it's not a matter of being sanguine, it's a matter of sticking to a plan which we believe will support our resilient export sector when they have been through a difficult time. It's not a surprise that when the currency has been at record highs, some exporters have found that too hard, including in manufacturing. Others have been able to adapt to it or change their markets, and so the sector as a whole has grown. The government's business growth agenda is a series of up to 300 initiatives, all designed to support our businesses to make the decision to invest and employ. And in the context of a difficult global economy, a recession the largest in a generation, and the damage wreaked by the last Labor government, that sector is doing pretty well.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, the Honourable David Parker.
Does he agree that given the flat projections for exports and some real problems in some subsectors of exports, like manufactured exports outside of primary, and the fact that the current account deficit is projected by his department to get worse every year until 2017, show that he has failed to rebalance the economy?
Honourable Bill English.
Mr Speaker, no, and if the member is going to insist debating the current account deficit today. Despite all the difficulties I've pointed out, the current account deficit stands at half the level it was for the final term of the Labor government, when it enjoyed the best economic circumstances in a generation. Today it is half the level when it was reached record levels of 8.6%. The previous Labor government could not have done a worse job than it did.
Question number 5, Ian McKelvey.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My question to the Minister of Science and Innovation.